Happy Spiritual Sunday to you all, and welcome. We're in an interesting time now, and that's what I would like to discuss with you, because we're literally, as we spoke about, I think in the last live Spiritual Sunday, we're in a time that we're setting the pattern for the entire year. Every human being on earth, whether they realize it or not, is deciding the basic pattern of their next 12 months. Whether it's going to be, let's say, starting at the starting line, possibly starting ahead of the starting line, or, heaven forbid, being a few yards behind the starting line. So this is why I wanted to share with you what's coming up in the week that's following this class. So let's start, as we always do, with our affirmation. And this is to help raise our consciousness. It's to help shift the way we think, because the way we think decides how we act. How we act decides our destiny. So we say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. So I wanted to start, the Zohar explains, it says something very interesting. It says, when God first created this world, which, remember, unless you're brand new to this, you understand it wasn't really God or the Creator, but it was you and I who decided in what's known as the endless world to come into this world. But we can understand metaphorically and through Kabbalah, translate what I'm about to share with you into our practical terms of how to live this life, live the life that we face every day in a way that's going to bring us tremendous joy, happiness, peace, prosperity, health, good relationships, all the wonderful blessings. So it's written like this. When God first created the world, the Creator created it under the auspices of judgment, meaning cause and effect. And then it says that the Creator saw that the world could not survive judgment and therefore added mercy. And so, of course, the Kabbalists ask a very simple question. If God is perfect, it sounds like the writings are saying that God made a mistake, changed its mind, somehow did something wrong, and then made an effort to fix it. So, okay, you and I, because we're learning Kabbalah in the center, many of you learning here with us on Spiritual Sunday frequently, so we know that there's a technology behind this. There's a way, as I like to call it, to translate that writing into something that we can make use of today in 2024. So let's start like this. What does cause and effect mean? When we talk about the law of cause and effect, what it really is saying is every action creates the pattern for a reaction or a result or a consequence. So most of you, if you're watching this, you understand the idea that every action, there's a consequence, a result of that. I mean, you hold up a glass, a delicate glass, and you let it go. The cause is letting it go. The effect is going to be hitting the ground and breaking. So cause and effect is exact. And therefore, every time a person does an action, even if it's, let's call it a mental action, a person is sending out the energy of anger or jealousy or resentment or guilt or shame, the energy goes out and will create an effect on an equal level. guilt, resentment, anger, jealousy, guilt, shame. In other words, more things to have those feelings towards. An angry person will attract themselves into a situation that'll just push their angry button again. Because like attracts like. Cause and effect. That's the essence of judgment, meaning it's very strict, if you will, but it's also clarifying. In other words, we all know, the example I use, if you hold a glass and you let it go, you know it's going to break. It's going to hit the floor and break. It's not going to, and please don't get into, well, maybe it's a heavy glass or whatever, but you understand the idea. It's not going to suddenly, near the floor, start to float and then just land nicely on the ground. It's going to break. Gravity is going to bring it down and break it. So cause and effect is also clarity. It's also a way of having clarity. What's chaos? Chaos and confusion is when a person cannot see the cause and effect. And therefore, they're confused. And therefore, it's chaos. Because they think they did something good, and what they see as a result was something bad. So how can it be cause and effect? If they did good and then bad happened, or if a person does bad and then good happens, it's confusing because they don't see the cause and effect. So when you stand back for a moment, the idea of cause and effect is actually, yes, it's exacting, but it's also a way of clarifying. So we know that every action we take, you scream and yell, driving down the street at the driver in front of you, you know, if you're learning with us and you hold the consciousness of cause and effect, somewhere down the line, either someone's going to yell at you, or you're going to have another opportunity to yell again, because you didn't change your anger, which is not a light-like behavior. We also, though, understand that cause and effect, even though it's exact, doesn't, in our world, always happen instantaneously. Like with the glass, you let go of the glass and then just literally a couple seconds later, if that, boom, it's crashed and it broke. But many things in our life, and even in the physical world, there's a process that is necessary to bring the cause energy into a manifest effect situation. So what's mercy then? Mercy is when we can get in the middle of that process and we can shift the cause. We can essentially pay back the negative action with proactivity, positive actions. And therefore it's as if we erased the negative action, replaced it with a positive action, and therefore the effect coming will be positive. So it's not that the Creator made a mistake. It's for you and I, through Kabbalah, through what we learn here, to understand that the universe has both aspects. It is definitely exactly cause and effect, and yet within the time frame of that process, we have an opportunity to get in the middle of it, pay back the negative action, as we often talk about. If the action was anger, so the payback is transformational sharing of forgiveness, tolerance, compassion. And therefore, we have in essence remodeled, transmuted the negative energy into positive energy, and therefore, as we've paid back the debt we created by the negative action, the effect is going to be positive. Kindness, tolerance, forgiveness, compassion. Because it's still like attracts like. It's still cause and effect, but we got in the midst of it to shift what the cause was. That's what basically all of our life is about, but in particular this month called Libra, this month in Kabbalistic terms called Tishrei, We spoke about the birthday of humanity, the first day. Those first 10 days of the month of Libra, the cosmic Libra, Tishrei, is an aspect of judgment. What's called Rosh Hashanah, which we spoke about. And if you're familiar, we just finished the cosmic event called Yom Kippur. The day, they call it the Day of Atonement, but it's in essence the end of this 10-day process of judgment, where on a spiritual level, all of our positive and negative actions are being weighed out, and the final bottom line came yesterday in Yom Kippur. Now, what's coming up is the aspect of mercy, which I want to explain because it's such an important opportunity for us, individually and collectively, to change the destiny of humanity, to change our individual destiny, and then with enough of us uniting in transforming our destinies from the negative to the positive, from the darkness to the light, from the chaos to the order, we can see more quickly a shift in humanity's destiny. We can accelerate the process of the end of pain, suffering, and death. And so it's important to keep in mind, let's say, the timetable, but I also, along the way, will share with you the technology that you can use to take advantage of it, this cosmic influx of energy, even if you're not doing the particular specific Kabbalistic technology. But I want to illuminate you all with both. And some of you may have some background in what I'm about to share with you. Some may even have background in the Kabbalah Center of what I will explain. My intention is that we will all raise our consciousness to a new level of awareness, a new perspective on how impactful this energy can be in taking out the darkness from our lives and from the world, taking out the chaos and confusion, taking out all the difficulties and the obstacles and the pain. So starting on the full moon, which is in a couple days, the full moon of Libra, there are 7 days of the light of mercy that comes into the world. 7 days. So from this Wednesday night, for the next 7 days, we all have an opportunity to take advantage of this extra infusion of what's known as the light of mercy, meaning the ability of transmuting, or as we talked about a few minutes ago, getting in the midst of the process that was going to be negative action, negative effect, but get in the midst of it, transmute what we did, and essentially therefore who we are, and therefore change what comes back to us. And think about it. Think back on your life. You know, every time, especially if you look back before Kabbalah, every time something challenging or difficult or someone pushed our buttons and we reacted, we thought, as we learn, instant gratification. Okay, we got rid of them, we pushed them away, we made them, back off, we made them do what we wanted to do, whatever the instant gratification was of our reactive behavior. But then comes, somewhere down the line, another situation that pushes the button again. Because our purpose in this world is to remove all of those buttons, to get rid of the spiritual mud that we've covered ourselves in every time we've reacted in a non-light-like behavior. Every time we've acted with ego, fear, greed, insecurity, lack consciousness, jealousy, guilt, shame, etc. We create another veil of darkness over our soul, over our eyes. We create a shell that basically imprisons us in a world of intense illusion. And that's why, as those of you who've taken Kabbalah 1, you've come to understand it keeps coming back again and again and again and again. In a class recently, I used the example, let's say, like a bicycle wheel, and there's a big stick attached to one side of it. So a person standing so close that as the wheel turns, it hits them. Hurts, it's painful, but it keeps going. And it hits them again. Like every time it comes around, the stick hits them, until they wake up and realize, okay, take the stick off the wheel, then even as the wheel turns, it's not going to hit them and hurt them. So in our lives, every time a person behaves reactively, even though it appears to bring instant gratification, but it's only temporary, long enough, so to speak, for that metaphorical wheel to turn 360 degrees and then hit them again, which is why if you look back on your life, you can see it's the same challenge over and over and over again. Challenge in a relationship, challenge in a business, challenge with a family. But when you boil it down, it's the same challenge of your reactive behavior, whatever that button is. The fear, the anger, the insecurity, the jealousy, on and on. And it will keep turning. I think that's why in many spiritual teachings they talk about like the wheel of karma, meaning it'll come around and hit them, until you change it. So we're learning how to take the stick away. This wheel turning, you could call it the judgment. Reaching in and taking the stick away, which in our life means transmuting jealousy to appreciation, anger to compassion, a sense of lack or greed to generosity, ego to humility, things like that. That transformation will take away the stick, let's call it, of being smacked, and replace it with, however you want to look at it, like gold coins, whatever the reward, a experience of love and kindness and generosity and prosperity and protection, things like that, the blessings in life. And they will continue, and ideally we want to make them greater and greater. But that's the process. So you understand, judgment and mercy are united. They're two parts of this universe that gives us the chance not to just sort of wait for the cause and effect to happen, get smacked by the stick, and then try and figure out how to change that stick or take that stick out. While it's turning, so to speak, the mercy aspect is when we can jump in that space of time. If you go back to that metaphor, as the stick is on the other side, 180 degrees away from you, being able to reach in there and take the stick away. So now when that place comes in front of you, it doesn't have a stick, but actually it will have some kind of blessing. Now, on the technical Kabbalistic level, the 15th day, the full moon of Tishrei, of Libra, is known as Sukkot. If you're familiar, great. If you're not familiar, it's okay also, because I'm going to share with you what that means. Sukkot is those 7 days where there's an infusion of mercy that we can take advantage of to transmute this darkness to light. What we do, and those of you who are near the center or near a center, you're certainly welcome to come and look and take advantage of it. We build a temporary hut, I guess you'd call it, like a gazebo almost. It's large because we're going to pray there, we're going to eat there and things like that, but we build it in Kabbalistic technology with a roof that is actually, if you will, like a radio antenna. It's an antenna that draws to us this energy called the light of mercy. The ability of having this spiritual awakening, strength, clarity, guidance, support, how to transmute our darkness to light and the chaos to order. So there is a physical gazebo hut, whatever you want to call it, with a specially constructed roof on it, and that draws this energy. And so for 7 days, we meditate in there, we eat, we make our spiritual connections, because we want to add and enhance the energy of mercy, the light of mercy. Meaning, as I'm now aware that that wheel of tikkun, that wheel keeps repeating, I keep saying the same things over and over and over again, we want to change it. The Kabbalists give us, as in all ways and means, the ability of accelerating this transformation process. Like we said, not just waiting for it to show up, but actually actively, which is why the Kabbalists use the word tikkun, correction. You're not waiting for it to show up, so to speak, somebody pointing it out, and then you go, oh my God, I have to fix it. No, you come to the awareness on your own. That's also the light of mercy. The light of mercy, like light, it makes things clear. If you're in a dark or dimly lit room, you don't have clarity on what things are in the room or where things might be. You turn on some light, now you see more clearly, and now you can navigate through or get what you need to get or avoid, knocking into something along the way. During these 7 days, we have special spiritual connections / prayers, and there's each day, because if you go back into the 5 books of Moses, it basically says that during these 7 days, historically, there was the sacrifice over 7 days of 70 oxen. Okay, no, don't worry, we don't sacrifice oxen over here, but we read from the 5 books of Moses each day the particular portion of those 70 sacrifices. So by the end of the 7 days, we have made, so to speak, those 70 sacrifices. And what the Kabbalists teach us, and I don't remember how often we speak about it, but the word sacrifice in the original language is korban. It comes from the roots, or you can transmute it into the breaking up of the 50 gates of negativity and drawing closer to the 50 gates of positivity. Krav Nun, for those of you who know it, and Karov Nun, a sacrifice. If you think in those historical terms, what was a sacrifice? Somebody did a negative action. They gave a sacrifice, in essence, to pay back the darkness they created in the cosmos and replace it with light. Or as we often say, extracting the light from the darkness. Therefore, the darkness and that negative influence is dissipated, and now not only for the person who's doing the sacrifice, but also for the people around them, because light radiates out, they're radiating to the heart and soul of every person light, taking away darkness. The 70 sacrifices are known as 70 sacrifices given to what's called the 70 nations. Unfortunately, people over history have given it a literal meaning. And like you and I have talked about often, the Zohar says anybody who takes the 5 books of Moses only on its literal level is being foolish. They're creating more chaos for themselves, because it's not meant to be just a literal level. Yes, in this case, 3,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, yes, people actually made a physical sacrifice of 70 oxen during the 70 days. We don't do that anymore. We don't have the Temple of Jerusalem existent. So with the right consciousness and the reading, we are actually getting the energy of transmuting that darkness. But let's understand what the 70 nations are. The 70 nations are the aspects of our negativity. In other words, there's not other people out there. We often speak about that the Kabbalists write that I am the center of my universe. And in simple terms it says, the world was created for me. I have to believe that the entire world was created for me. Because from my point of view, when I look out in the world, I am the center of this universe. And as we often speak about, like we're saying with cause and effect, every action I do is creating my destiny. Well, my destiny is part of my world. And so everything that I do is creating my world, because like will attract like. Everything you do, from your point of view, is creating your world. From your point of view, you are the center of your world, and your world was created specifically for you. When we accept that and take that privilege and responsibility, there's nothing stopping us when we're determined, committed, and willing to make the effort to make each of our worlds heaven on earth. The more we let our soul's light shine into the world, the more we're taking away that darkness. The more we take away the darkness, we see more and more of the heaven on earth that we created originally, called the Garden of Eden, that never was destroyed, let's call it covered up with those spiritual covers, the veils and curtains. Or we often talk about it, which we will also, spiritual mud. Cover yourself with spiritual mud, you don't look like you. And essentially, if you keep putting on mud and mud and mud, you could look like a giant, you could look like whatever. Okay. So, the consciousness behind all this, if you want to come and join us, or the center you're near, please do. I encourage you, at least for the connections, find on Kabbalah.com from where you can stream those connections. Because this time, again, is the energy of mercy, or as the Rav used to call it, it's the power of anti-gravity or anti-matter. And if you think in those terms, what is gravity? Gravity, which the Kabbalists explain, we say earth has gravity and we're all being pulled down or whatever. On a spiritual level, gravity is the desire to receive. It draws. So the opponent in our head uses our desire to receive, which in and of itself is not negative, but taunts us to use the desire to receive for oneself alone. Give me now. I want now. Taking. That's gravity. That's matter. I'm being influenced by the 5 sense physical matter. They said, they did, I want the car, the house, the money, the person, whatever it may be. So then the power of Sukkot, these 7 days, is the strength to overcome the gravity of desire to receive oneself alone, or if you will, the extreme influence of physical matter, and therefore it's antimatter. It helps us reveal the light that's in our soul, that is our true potential, is our pure and perfect beingness that the Creator created in the endless world. So then the consciousness behind this is, and if you're here, if you're watching this, then you've already had an initial awakening. In other words, for me, up until I came to the center, I was living in, let's call it semi-darkness. I mean, I don't think any of us, you and me, were living in complete darkness. If you're here, you're a kind person, a good person, a nice person, etc. But we still had our darkness. And something happened, one way or another, that illuminated our perspective on our life, on our actions, and we suddenly were aware that some of the things we did, that of course were influenced by that opponent in our head, the desire to receive oneself alone, the ego, the selfishness, and therefore, even though initially instant gratification, but as we looked back long term, it created the problems that we have. And that illumination gave us clarity and motivation, in our case, to find the Kabbalah Center and learn how we can more voluntarily, proactively, and even preemptively, like we say, with mercy, pay back our spiritual debt before it comes to be collected. Change the cause that we set up earlier this life, even past lives, that has yet to show up and physically manifest in our lives. The Rav used to talk about like a missile, right? The actions we do like sends out the missile, and whatever, some are short distance, some are long distance. You follow the idea? So some are still waiting to show up from past lives earlier in this life, and this is what the center's teaching us, how to get in the midst of it and change it, so that as it lands, it's love and kindness and protection and prosperity and all those good blessings of the light. So this week of Sukkot, take advantage, really dig in, because as we realize the negativity we've done, so what I would encourage you to do, even if you come to the Sukkah, but particularly, especially if you don't, take these 7 days, in this case from Wednesday night for the next 7 days, scan your Zohar, do your Ana B'Koach, 72 Names of God, awakening the light. As you're awakening that light with the desire to see your negativity, the spiritual mud, the blockages, you will be led to, in your consciousness by your soul, to see various experiences in your life where you behaved in a reactive way and created the shell, put a veil on, poured mud on yourself, etc. And once you do that, then by realizing the negative actions, then you can go in and you can start to sacrifice, if you will, to those 70 nations. In other words, you look back and you say, oh my God, I was so insensitive to that person when I said or did that thing. So what's the sacrifice? In whatever level you're able, perhaps you're physically able to go back to that person in person, and you look at them and say, you know what, I just want to apologize. You're sacrificing, if you will, your ego. You're sacrificing your shame, your guilt on the altar of the light by apologizing. I'm so sorry what I said or did. If I hurt your feelings in any way, I harmed you, please forgive me. You're sending light. You're using the light of mercy to get in there and fix before the effect comes, the trajectory, and what's going to come back to you. So for these 7 days, when you're doing transformational sharing, as we teach in Kabbalah 1, like replacing the jealousy with gratitude, appreciation, ego with humility, resentment with forgiveness, compassion, that transmutes your destiny. That removes the dirt. That breaks through the veils and the shells that are hiding your soul's light and all the blessings that have been prepared for you. So it's important, and remember, these 7 days, as on the bigger picture, these first 3 weeks of the month of Libra Tishrei, we are setting the pattern for the next 11 months. So it's not like just a new moon. Okay, a new moon sets a pattern for a month. We want to take advantage of it, getting a month's worth of transformation in one day. That's important. But imagine now you can get a year's worth of transformation in these 3 weeks. So when you look at it that way, it'll be easier for you to do the work and more difficult for that opponent, that adversary in our heads, to stop us from doing that work. The bottom line is, this is a month that we can change our destiny. We can cleanse our past. By cleansing our past, we're revealing all the blessings that the light gave us. By removing the mud, we're removing the chaos, confusion, the pain, the obstacles that we empowered with those negative actions. And please, if you're new, remember, we are not excusing the people who pushed our buttons. They have their own wheel of cause and effect coming to them. We have our wheel. So it's almost going back to that metaphor. It's like when two people are having discordant conversation, or whatever you want to call it, challenges. It's like each one has a wheel with that stick. So mine is coming to me and that stick is hitting me, fear, anger, jealousy, whatever it may be. And the other person, they have their wheel. The same thing. So if I can, or when I take that stick away and replace it with blessings, then blessings keep coming back to me. They're still in their same cycle of fear, anger, jealousy, ego, whatever it may be, because they don't take away their stick. So we're not exempting them from their cause and effect by shining light on them in our transformation process. But we're removing from our side chaos, pain, and suffering. And so I want to encourage you in this week coming up, Wednesday night for the next 7 days, do as much introspection. Really beg for clarity from your soul to see where and how you set a pattern of cause and effect that's still going on because of whatever your reactive behavior is. The Kabbalists teach us desire is everything, because desire corresponds to the vessel. And whichever way we use that vessel, so to speak, for oneself or in order to share, that's the way the universe will fill it. So when people's desire is simply for the physical, material things, and that could also be, everybody liking them, having everybody applaud them. It doesn't have to be just the car, the house, the money, etc. But when the physical, material world becomes their sense of fulfillment, that's when they're creating chaos. Because there's nothing in the physical world that is the source of happiness, joy, and peace and all of that. It can be the means of it. Like your television. If you think of your television is not the source of whatever, your happiness, your being entertained or what have you. It's the means by which the broadcast station broadcasts through the television so you can watch it, and now you have that sense of being entertained in whatever form it is. So too, the physical world, Kabbalistically, is the means by which we receive the messages from our soul, and we can send back the light that we are unblocking with our transformational behaviors. So getting rid of that mud. So I encourage you in these 7 days, really take time, introspect. Where have I not realized I did a negative action? I've perpetuated the same kind of obstacles, challenges, difficulties again and again and again in my life. And then as you come to that clarity, you now see you behaving in those negative ways, then you can start doing your transformational sharing, which is the uncomfortable, sharing compassion when you're feeling resentful, sharing the energy of humility when you want to be egotistical, sharing gratitude and happiness for other people's good when you want to be jealous. That transformational sharing, or tikkun, healing, we now call it, as you do it, it's cleansing your spiritual dirt. As you remove your spiritual dirt, you're revealing the pure and perfect being of light. Removing the dirt is taking away that which holds us back from the best version of ourselves, from all the blessings. I don't think there's a person on earth who doesn't have some awareness of how good their life is supposed to be, because that's what the Creator filled us with. The issue is, and what this life is about, what free choice is about, is listening to the voice of our soul and doing greater actions of sharing on a higher level, the light of the Creator, or, heaven forbid, listening to the voice of the opponent and making effort, which is futile, to get lasting fulfillment from the physical material world. So it's our spiritual mud, those curtains and veils that we've covered ourselves up with, that is actually holding back all of the blessings that we have been given, all of the blessings we all want to have. And so as we're taking away that mud, besides our own individual greater good, greater peace, we are also activating the frequencies of light in all people around us, all people in the world, because like will attract like. And when we're sending out the energy, the light force of greater love, kindness, humility, generosity, compassion, gratitude, we will awaken inside the soul of every person on earth that same energy. Love, kindness, compassion, generosity, gratitude, humility, apology. And as we do that, we remove the limitations. We're freeing our soul, if you will, in essence, from the prison we've put it in. And therefore we will be more of our pure and perfect light beingness. We will live more and a higher level of our best life. We will experience, manifest more of our eternal blessings, and we will live more and more with true inner peace. And the point of the center is gathering as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, to make these efforts. And then, the more of us who are joining together, the quantum effect kicks in. And the few of us can influence the many in the world. 1 million people affecting 1 billion. 1.5 million, 2 million affecting 8.5 billion on that quantum level. And I would encourage you, as you're doing your introspection, to see where your darkness is. Also, take note consciously and applaud yourself for the light that you've revealed, for the transformation you've gone through, for the elevated consciousness that you are living in your daily life, in how you have grown, how you've come to even appreciate the challenges in your life. Because as we learn here in the center, the challenges are just a way to wake us up and point out where our light is hiding. And then, as we take advantage of that awareness, we can do those actions, transformational sharing. We can remove the blockages, remove the shells, remove the mud that's hiding those blessings, and reveal, not only on an individual level, more of our blessings and more of our pure and perfect light beingness, but imagine, see in your mind's eye the flood of the time of Noah that unfortunately back then destroyed the world. Let's see a flood of the light of the Creator coming in, but as a shower, because we are proactively, voluntarily washing away with the light of the Creator that mud, because we are strengthening our desire to live not only into our best version of ourselves, but as you grow and you become more aware of the oneness of humanity, we increase our desire for the ultimate end of pain, suffering, and death, and the ultimate revelation of eternal peace, harmony, love, unity. The Garden of Eden, heaven on earth, forever. God bless. And so, I just wanted to do our meditation. This is one of the 72 names of God, Yud Lamed Hey. I think most of you are aware that the Hebrew letters just shine the light of the Creator. And therefore, as the eyes are the window to the soul, letting the energy of the light shine through these combination, Yud Lamed Hey, we are awakening the power to sweeten judgment. What is the sweetened judgment? Meaning removing the veil of darkness and allowing the revelation and manifestation of the light. So just let the shapes make an impression in your mind's eye. And now I ask you, sitting comfortably in your seat, hands on your lap, taking a few deep breaths, breathing in the light of the Creator through your breath. Hold that breath for a moment to let the light flow from head to toe, and exhale, letting go of whatever blockages you may be holding on to. A little bit of stress, anxiety, confusion. Allowing yourself to relax. Relax into the light of the Creator. Relaxing into your soul's certainty that the universe is here to serve you, the universe is here to give you opportunity to reveal your pure, perfect light beingness as you imitate, emulate the Creator more and more, sharing its light unconditionally, especially into the darkness, the chaos, the confusion, knowing that that light will remove the cover of darkness and transmuting the chaos to order, the curses to blessings, if you will. Let's envision the Yud Lamed Hey above our heads. See them glowing with this powerful light of unconditional love, the light of the Creator. Feel the vibration already starting to pierce through the blockages, that spiritual mud that you've been covered with up to this point. And let's allow the Yud Lamed Hey to enter through the top of our head. Bringing with it the awakening, the power, the clarity of where our negativity is, where those veils and that mud lies. And as we listen to the voice of our soul that's activated on a higher level by the energy of the Yud Lamed Hey, become aware of our negative actions. We see through the curtains and the veils to the pure light being that's inside, hidden under those veils. The Yud Lamed Hey allowing us to connect with, to feel the potential that's inside of us. And as you're allowing the Yud Lamed Hey through the top of your head, and then moving from head to toe, realize how much more certainty you have in your abilities, your potential, listen for the messages that your soul may be giving you through the power of Yud Lamed Hey, because it also brings inspiration through the clarity of conscious realization of your mud, those veils, those curtains, and the actions that created them. Your soul is giving you guidance, inspiration, clarity, and motivation. With this meditation on the Yud Lamed Hey, we empower that voice, that message, to a much higher, more clear, and easily defined expression. Sweetening judgment, meaning clarity between the voice of the opponent in your head and the voice of the light. So more power. We want to send it out to the world. So let the Yud Lamed Hey settle in your heart. Feel it removing by transforming the hurt feelings, the broken heart experiences you may have been through. Allow the energy, the light that shines from the Yud Lamed Hey to remove that mud, break through those walls, send light to the people and the situations that you had perceived caused these blockages, allowing your heart to be free and shine more of its pure light into the world. Let's see that beam of light out of your heart, my heart, all of ours, to the heart and the soul of every human being on the planet. One, to sweeten our judgment of others by now seeing the light, the pure godlike being that's inside the veils and the mud that we had been responding to. Seeing the interconnectedness, that there is no human being that is not a part of each and every one of us. And therefore, the more we support people in their transformation, in their healing process, the more blessings we get, because there are more people on the planet shining more of their light. With the help of the Creator and the light, we can reveal humanity's pure and perfect light beingness, and the earth perfection. Heaven on earth, Garden of Eden. See it, think it, feel it. Record everything you've heard, seen, felt, that you can take it with you as strength, motivation, clarity, and guidance. Slowly coming back into the physical material world. We take one more deep breath, anchoring all this beautiful energy and light into our heart, soul, and mind. And as you exhale, slowly opening your eyes. God bless. I bless us all that we take advantage of these 7 days of the light of mercy. And as you'll share this with your friends, we will have enough people, as the Kabbalists call it, a critical mass that will reveal and shine into the world enough light to take away the darkness. And when there's no darkness in the cosmos, every human being on earth will see the truth, will see the light being inside them, will see the actions of cause and effect so clearly that they will only want to behave with mercy, sharing, because they will see in their own eyes, in their own heart, that that's the only way that they can live in peace and harmony, heaven on earth. And the beauty is, as more of us have that desire and work in that direction, the faster it will be for all the planet. Love, kindness, compassion, peace, and eternal bliss. God bless. Look forward to seeing you soon. Please send me your experiences, send me comments, even send me, if you will, subjects you would like me to share on Spiritual Sunday. And if you have any questions, please messenger me or email me, and we could arrange also a one-on-one session if you'd like. God bless. All the best.